Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be doing a review for the Algebra 1 Regents, which is on June 18th, 2025. It's on a Wednesday, and we will be practicing by doing the multiple choice of the August 2024 Regents for Algebra 1. So there's some misconception with my last video for biology. This is not the Regents that you will be taking on the 18th. This is just like practice that was released by the state. These are not the questions you will have on your Regents, but it's just good practice. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Actually, before we get into it, I just want to talk about the format of this quickly. So it's usually like 35 to 37 questions. Let's see how it's finished. This one's 35 questions. Sometimes it's like 36 or 37. But yeah, it's 82 points. So that's like normal. Each multiple choice question is worth 2 points, and there's 24 multiple choice. So there's around like 11 free response ones, or whatever you want to call it. Instructed response. So yeah. So let's just get right into this. So right here, you would write your real name, not any nickname or anything. Your real name and then your full school name. But I'm not going to do that right now. So let's just get right into it. Question 1. What is the correct factorization of x squared plus 4x minus 12? So with multiple choice, this is actually really nice. You can just use your calculator to check this. So for this whole video, I'm going to be using the TI-84 plus CE Python calculator, which is probably what you used in class or similar to what you used in class. So I'm just going to clear whatever was in my graph. Sorry, I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to put in x squared, x is right here, x squared plus 4x minus 12. Let's just quickly look at what this looks like. So it looks like that. So now I'm going to check each of the answer options. First is x plus 3 times x minus 4. That does not line up, so it cannot be the answer. The second choice is x minus 3 times x plus 4. Again, that does not line up with our blue graph, so that is not it. Third possible option is x plus 2 times x minus 6. This is the graph button right here. Again, that does not line up. So, can't be 3. Our last option, let's just make sure it works, is x minus 2 times x plus 3. As we can see, that perfectly lines up, meaning it is the same thing. So 1 is 4. Question 2. Which situation can be modeled by a linear function? Here's an example of a linear function. So its equation has to look something like this. Y equals mx plus b. B is the y-intercept, m is the slope. So which one of these could be written as an equation something like this? So let's see. A printer can print 1 page every 3 seconds. 1 page every 3 seconds. That looks like a normal slope, so that seems right, but let's just look at the other options. A bank account earns 0.5% interest, compounded annually. If we're hearing compounded annually or even a percent, that is never linear. Annual compound interest has an exponent in it, as we can see at this little n right here. So that is not linear, that's exponential. So let's cross out 2. The number of cells in an organism doubles every 4 days. If we're hearing the word double, triple, quadruple, anything like that, that cannot be the answer if it's linear. And then the attendance at a professional sports team's games decreases by, again, percents is not linear. So 2 is 1. Which expression is equivalent to this? I'm not even going to say it out loud. Again, we can check this by graphing. I'm just going to plug it in. 3x squared minus 2x plus 3 minus 4x squared plus 3x minus 1. We're just going to take a quick look at this graph. Looks like that. So now let's test each option. So this is definitely a negative quadratic function. Okay, it's not option 1. Is it option 2? Just gonna plug it in. Does it match up with the blue one? Let's see. Close, but it does not match up with the blue one. It has to be exactly on top of it. So that's making me think that the answer might be option 4. So let's check 4. Negative x squared minus 9x plus 10. Let's see if this one lines up. Yup, that one lines up. So 3 is 4. At Adeline's first birthday party, each guest brought $1 in coins for her piggy bank. Guests brought nickels, dimes, and quarters for a total of $28. There were twice as many dimes as nickels and 12 more quarters than nickels. Which equation could be used to determine the number of nickels, x, that her guests brought to the party? So let's look at what this is talking about. This has to equal 28. All the options equal 28, so we can't cross anything out yet. There were twice as many dimes as nickels. That means we have to see 0.10 times 2, or actually times 2x. So these both have times 2x, meaning that we're doubling dimes, and 12 more quarters than nickels. So that has to have, this one doesn't even have a plus 12 near the quarter part. And as we know, quarters are equal to $0.25. So 4 is 2. Question 5. A student creates a 4th degree trinomial with a leading coefficient of 2 and a constant value of 5. The trinomial could be, so degree, what does that mean? Degree is, if it's in standard form, that means the highest degree comes first. So the 4th degree means the first number is raised to the 4th degree. So it could be 1 or it could be 2 because we have the 4th degree right there. These ones don't even have an exponent that says 4, so it can't be 3 or 4. A leading coefficient of 2. That is the first number you see in the whole thing. These both have a leading coefficient of 2. And a constant value of 5. A constant is at the end of the trinomial. It's the c value. As we know, ax squared plus bx plus c. C stands for constant. So 5 is 1. When solving the equation 4x squared minus 16 equals 0, Laura wrote 4x squared equals 16 as her first step. Which property justifies Laura's first step? So let's just write down what she did. She did 4x squared minus 16 equals 0. So, I'm sorry, that was the starting equation. Then what she did was she added 16 on both sides. That canceled out, so then she got this. So which one of these properties is canceling this out and moving it to the other side? Is it distribution? Of multiplication, we didn't multiply anything, we added. So it's not that. Again, this is not multiplication. Is it the commutative property of addition? Well, it cannot be that because that would mean we're just changing the order on the equal sign. So that would be saying that it's negative 16 plus 4x squared on the other side. That is not what we did here, so it is not commutative property. Can you guys hear the rain? It's raining right now. So it has to be the addition property of equality because we're creating equality by doing the same step on both sides, and we're adding, so it's addition. So 6 is 4. Which expression results in an irrational number? This is a calculator question. Irrational, well, let's just do each and then I'll talk about what irrational is. So the first option was square root of 3 times the square root of 3. That just gives us 3. 3 is a nice rational number, so that cannot be it. Let's see. Negative 2 over 3 plus 1 over 4. This can be written as a fraction, so it is rational. And this one was a natural counting number, meaning it's greater than 0 and not a decimal. Let's try this. 5 times the square root of 81. 45, that is a nice counting natural number. So I have a feeling it's going to be 4. 1 over 3 plus square root of 3. Yeah, this is, if it has a long, non-repeating, non-terminating decimal, it is irrational. If it can be written as a fraction, it's rational. But if the answer was like, if the answer was like this, where it was like 2.161616, that's actually rational because it does repeat in a pattern. This is a pattern. If it repeats in a pattern, it's rational. If it terminates, meaning like 2.81, it ends, that's rational. The answer we just got, this never ends. This just keeps going forever, and it's not in a pattern. Number 8. Which equation has the same solutions as x squared plus 6x minus 18 equals 0? This is a graphing question. So I'm going to put this into my graph, x squared plus 6x minus 18. And actually, you don't have to put the equal 0 when you're graphing because the y equals is the same thing as saying equals 0. I'm going to clear this one. So we're going to add this constant number to this side when we do our graph check. So first, let's try the first one. Squared. And since we're canceling it out, it's going to be negative. It's going to be the inverse of that. So let's try that. That's close, but that is not quite the answer. It has to overlap exactly, so that cannot be it. Let's try the second option. Minus 28, because we're doing the inverse. That overlaps exactly, so that is the right answer. I'm not even going to try the other ones because it overlaps exactly, so we know it's the right answer. Moving on. Question 9. The heights in inches of 8 football players are given below. Which box plot represents these data? I don't know why it says these data, not this data, but whatever. So we're going to go into stat, make sure it says 1, edit, and then enter. We're going to put all these numbers in, 76, 70, 72, 70, 69, 71, 78, and 74. Then you're going to do second, this button, which is quit. Then we're going to go back to stat, arrow to the right, and we want number 1. We're going to go and do calculate. So the minimum value is 69. Which one of these has a minimum value of 69? 3 and 4 does, so it can't be 1 or 2. The median is 71.5. Which one has this? 3 has a median of around 71.5, so we know that 9 is 3. A bookstore owner recorded the number of books sold and the profit made selling the books. So we have this table right here. What is the average rate of change in dollars per book between 100 and 350 books sold? So this is X, this is Y. Remember our slope formula, which actually is in the back of this. It'll be the last page of your booklet. Right here. It's the change in Y over the change of X. So they gave us this interval right here, 100 and 350. So we're going to do 350 minus 100 on the bottom because that's the change in X. And then 425 minus 50 on the top because this matches up with that, that matches up with that. We're just going to put that right into the calculator. Make sure you use parentheses when separating the top and the bottom, the numerator and the denominator. So we get 3 over 2. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. So the answer is 1.50, which is 3. Question 11. If f of x equals x squared, then which function represents a shift of the graph of f of x 4 units to the right and 3 units down? So let's first look at this 3 units down part. That just means at the end of the equation, it's going to say minus 3. So it can't be 1 and it can't be 4. Now this part is a little bit tricky. 4 units to the right. When something is in parentheses, you actually do inside opposite. So it's opposite of what you would think. So you see plus 4 here. You would think that's to the right, but since it's in the inside of the parentheses, it's actually to the left. And we're talking about to the right in this question, so it cannot be 2. Inside opposite tells us that we're taking the inverse of this number, and it's actually going to be 4 to the right. So 11 is 3. Number 12. The amount of money a plumber charges is represented by the function p of h, which is 45 plus 90h. The best interpretation of the y-intercept of this function is that the plumber charges. So the y-intercept is the constant value that has no variable, no letter next to it. It's just the constant. It just sits there. No letter next to it. So that's 45. So we're not even talking about 90 in this because 90 has a letter next to it. That can't be the y-intercept. So 45. Is it 45 to come to the house? Yes, because the y-intercept is always the initial value. It cannot be 45 per hour because h represents per hour, and that's this part of the equation. So 90 per hour is the slope, but that's not the y-intercept. We're being asked about the y-intercept, so 12 is 1. What is the solution to the inequality 2m minus 4 is less than or equal to 3 times 2m plus 4? They give you this whole space right here to do written math. So let's just rewrite it. I'm gonna center this better. So the first thing, sorry, I gotta do that. The first thing I'm gonna do is distribute this 3 into the parentheses. So I'm just gonna rewrite this side. This is less than or equal to 6m. 3 times 2 is 6m. 3 times 4 is 12, positive 12. So the next thing I'm going to do is add 4 on both sides so that this will cancel out. We have 2m is less than or equal to 6m plus, this is 16. Next I'm going to do minus 6m on both sides. That cancels out. If you don't know it, 2 minus 6, that is negative 4. Negative 4m is less than or equal to 16. Now, this is a rule. If you're ever dividing by a negative, this actually switches the other way. So this cancels out. M is actually greater than or equal to negative 4. So that option is option number 4. So 13 is 4. Question 14. A survey of students at West High School was taken to determine a theme for the prom. The results of the survey are summarized in the table below. So here's the table. Approximately what percent of the students who chose the Broadway theme were girls? The Broadway theme. So these are all the people that chose the Broadway theme, both numbers. So first we're going to add those together so we know exactly how many people chose this theme. If you don't know this, just put it in your calculator. 68 plus 79. That is 147. 147. Now, we see that girls, we go across, 68 were girls. So we're going to do 68 divided by the total. We get this weird number. But as you can notice, the answer options are 2-digit whole numbers. So you might think, like, wait a second, that's weird. But we remember the question is asking us the percent. So these are all actually percents right here. You can draw the little percent thing if you'd like, so that you remember. So this is around 46%, because remember we moved the decimal 2 places to the right. So 14 is 3. This page has a lot of math on it. The sum of 2 root 54 and 2 root 6 is, calculator question, super easy. Let's do 2 root, and remember sum means we're adding them. So this gives us around 19.59. So which one of these also gives us that number? It's not 1. That gives us 30. That's not near it. Sorry. Is it option 2? Nope. Is it option 3? Nope. Is it option 4? Yep, that gives us the exact same number. See, this is the same as this. So 15 is 4. So a lot of easy calculator questions like that where you can just check it right in the calculator. The functions f of x equals x squared minus 5x minus 14, and g of x, which is equal to x plus 2, are graphed on the same set of axes. What are the solutions to the equation f of x equals g of x? So this is worded a little weird. They always word this a little weird. Remember, this is y. This is just a replacement for y. So they're saying when y equals y, what is x? So as you can see, there's going to be 2 options. So let's graph both of these. Sorry. Go to y equals, clear anything that was already in there. Our first one is going to be x squared minus 5x minus 14. Our other equation is going to be x plus 2. Very simple one. As we can see, this intersects at -2 when x is -2. So we can cross out 1 and 2. Let's change our window. So we're going to go to window. I'm going to make the y max like 14, or that was the x max. I'm going to make the y max also 14 so we can see this a little bit better. Something you can actually do is click this right arrow, or any one of these arrows actually, and go to the exact value of where this intersection was. So I'm going to try to get as close to it as I can. It seems like at this point, x equals 8. That's what it says right here. So the answer is -2 and 8. (17) If x equals 4a squared minus a plus 3 and y equals a minus 5, then which polynomial is equivalent to the product of x and y? Remember, product means we're multiplying. It's the result of a multiplication problem. So this is actually kind of a hard question, or at least it looks like it, but I don't think it's actually that hard. So I can already cross out two options, because remember, there's actually little invisible 1th power. This is actually raised to the 1th power. Every number that doesn't have an exponent is raised to the 1th power. This is raised to the 1th power, this is, and that is too. So when we multiply two variables, we add their exponents together. 2 plus 3, or I'm sorry, I just gave away the answer. 2 plus 1 equals 3. So the degree of whatever the answer is has to be 3. So we can cross out 1 and 2. And now I'm just going to graph this. So we can just replace a for x. So 4x squared, minus x plus 3. Remember, we're multiplying the two. X times x minus 5. And then I'm just going to take a guess that it's option 4. I don't even know if that's right or not. So we're going to try that one first. So we're just going to put that into the calculator. In the second y equals option, y2. We're going to see if they line up. Yep, that lines up exactly. So 17 is 4. 18. What is an equation of the line that passes through 3, 7 and has a slope of 2? So let's actually go to the last page of our booklet, which is where all the formulas are for Algebra 1. All of the answer options are in this linear equation point-slope form. So we know that y minus y1 equals the slope, which is m, times x minus x1. So let's just write a little equation for ours. So I just copied that point-slope form equation right here from the last page that we were given. So y1 is right here. x1 is right here. So y minus 7 equals the slope, which they said was 2, times x, take the inverse of x1, which is -3. So let's find this option. That is option 1. So 18 is 1. 19. I feel like a lot of people have trouble with sequences, so let's do this one. A geometric sequence with a common ratio of -3 is... So geometric means that it's actually exponential. Arithmetic means that it is a linear sequence. So this one is, first of all, this one's increasing, and this says -3, so that's not even it. But this is also increasing at a linear rate. We're looking for something that's decreasing at an exponential rate. Again, this looks linear. Although it is decreasing, it is linear because it's just going down by 3. You know what? Let's write the geometric sequence equation, which is on the last page. an equals a1 r n minus 1. an equals a1 times r to the power of n minus 1. So let's try this one. an. So, let's try to find the second number and see if that's right. So a2 equals -2 times the rate of -3 to the power of 2 minus 1. Negative 2 times negative 3 to the power of 2 minus 1. That gives us 6, and this says negative 6, so that's not right. Let's try this now. A, n, which n means a number, by the way. You could kind of think of this as a number. So a number, a1, which is our initial value, times r. So let's pretend like we're trying to find this second thing. So a2, initial value, times our rate, which is negative 3. To the power of 2 minus 1. That is negative 12, so we know that this one's right. So 19 is 4. When this equation is solved for x in terms of a, and a is not equal to 0, the result is, so let's try it over here. We're solving for x. I know, like, sometimes people get confused with in terms of a. Just pay attention to the solving for whatever you're solving for. We're solving for x in this case. So I'm just going to rewrite, hold on. I'm going to rewrite what they gave us, just that. We're solving for x, so we're adding, let's add this whole thing to the other side. This one crosses out. We get 6 equals 2ax minus 2. Let's add that 2 to the other side. This crosses out. 8 equals 2ax. Since we want x by itself, we're going to divide by 2 and a. That both crosses out, and it leaves us with just x. This can actually be simplified, though. So 8, this equals 4 over a. 4 over a is the second option, so 20 is 2. Which function has the zeros negative 1, 3, and negative 4? So remember we were talking about inside opposite. Let's see, which question was that? I think it was here. Yeah, inside opposite. So it's always the opposite number if it's in the inside of the parentheses. So the opposite of that is negative 1. The opposite of that is 3. And the opposite of that is, that's not the opposite, so it can't be 1. That's not opposite, so we can cross it out. That is the opposite of that. That is the opposite of that. Oh, and that's the opposite of that too. So 21 is 3. Didn't even have to graph it or anything. Just got to remember our inside opposite rule for if it's in the parentheses. Question 22. The expression 5 to the power of a plus 2b is equivalent to, which one is it equivalent to? So the first thing I'm going to do to solve this, plus 2b, since we have to the power of 2, that can go right into 5. 5 to the power of 2 is 25. So we have 25b because this has to move also. And then we're still multiplying by 5 to the power of a. So there it is right here. So I could see where people would actually pick option 1, but it can't be option 1 because option 1 would mean that we're adding a, we're adding 2, and we're adding b to each other. That is not the case because we're actually multiplying 2 and b, not adding them. Same with this. We're not multiplying this and this, so that can't be it. Cross out 1. And it cannot be 4 because see how this is the same exponent as this? All they did was change the 5 to a 25, but they kept this. That can't be right because it's just a bigger number for this. So 22 was 2. 23. An arithmetic sequence, the first term is 4 and the third term is negative 2. What is the common difference? So we actually don't even have to look at the back page for this one. You just have to know that arithmetic is a linear sequence. And we're actually just using the slope formula for this. So change in y over change in x. So the first term is 4. We're going to make 4 our y2, or I'm sorry, our y1. So we'll label it y1. This other number is going to be our y2. Since this is first, this can be our x1, and third can be our x2. So we're going to do -2 minus 4 over 3, because it says third, minus 1, because first is just 1. This is equal to, let's see, -2 minus 4, -6 over 3 minus 1 is 2. So this equals -3. So 22 is 3. Or I'm sorry, 23 is 3. Okay, we just have one more question left. Ooh, I like these questions. You know what? I'm not even going to read this question. When we see stuff set up like this, we know exactly what to do. Hopefully you learn this in class. So the units, there has to be one of the same unit on the bottom and the top. So I don't even see feet cubed on the bottom, so it can't even be this one. Again, this one doesn't even have feet cubed on the bottom, so it can't be that one. Here we go. Feet cubed and feet cubed cancels out, but nothing else cancels out in this, so it can't be that. And mind you, we're trying to find how many truckloads of water he needs to fill his pool. So pool has to be on the bottom. So feet cubed and feet cubed cancels out. That's good. Gallon and gallon cancels out. We have truckload over pool. That's exactly what we needed, because this says truckloads of water needed to fill his pool. So 24 is 4. I hope this video helped you guys. You guys are going to do great on your Algebra 1 Regents. Comment down below if there's anything like you want me to make a video on, like if you didn't understand sequences or something like this, or literal equations, something like this, anything. Just comment down below and maybe I can make a video about it or guide you in the right place to maybe watch another video that I didn't make. But you guys, my phone just died while I was recording that, and I was so scared that I just lost all that footage, but I didn't. So anyway, what I was saying is that you guys are going to do great, and if you have any questions, just comment down below and I can help you. So this was how to tackle the multiple choice for Algebra 1. If you guys want, I can do a free response video later, maybe like next week or something. But yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck. Also, here's something. Let me just show you the conversion chart that they used last June for Algebra 1. So right here's the conversion chart. So these multiple choice were each worth 2 points, and it was 24. 24 times 2 is 48. So if you got all the multiple choice right and you didn't even do any other question in the whole Regents, you would actually still get a 74. If you're someone that's aiming for a 90 or above, try to get 8 wrong or better. That's right here. If you're someone that's trying to get mastery, which is 85, try to get 13 wrong or better. And if you're just someone that's trying to pass this, just try to get 52 points off or better. So I think I've said this too many times, but I really hope this video helped you guys. And you guys are going to do great. Hopefully you use some of these tips on the actual exam on June 18th. And yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck. Thanks for watching. Bye.